Hi, I'm Ashton and welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to be showing you my June TBR. I wanted to do a queer TBR where I include like either the author, like a queer author, or a book that has queer characters in them because it is Pride Month. So I'm going to be showing you what I'll be reading this month and we're just going to get right into it. So for the first book, this one is not part of the queer books I'm going to read. It was just a book that I wanted to finish in May and I didn't. And I am working on a video for like a vlog reading this book, which is Five Broken Blades. It was one of the popular books that I have seen people reading. And I've seen like mixed reviews on it, but I thought it was interesting and I got it for my book of the month for May, I think, which is why I wanted to read it. And basically, I'm just gonna read what it's about on here, just what it already says on here, the synopsis. So it says, it's the season for treason. The king of Yusan must die. The 5 most dangerous liars in the land have been mysteriously summoned to work together for a single objective, to kill the god King June. He has it coming. Under his merciless, immortal hand, the nobles flourish, while the poor and innocent are imprisoned, ruined, or sold. And now each of the 5 blades will come for him. Each has tasted a bitterness, from the hired hitman seeking atonement, a lonely assassin who seeks freedom, or even the prince banished for his cruel crimes. None can resist the sweet, icy lure of vengeance. They can agree on murder, they can agree on treachery, but for these 5 killers, each versed in deception, lies, and betrayal, it's not enough to forge an alliance. To survive, they'll have to find a way to trust each other, but only one can take the crown. Let the best liar win. And that sounds really good. I'm pretty sure that it's in 5 different perspectives with the 5 blades, I guess. And I just really thought it was, like, it sounded really interesting, so I'm gonna pick this one up. It's a fantasy, I believe, and I wanted to get into a fantasy because the next fantasy that I want to read is Children of Anguish and Anarchy, but that doesn't come out until the end of June, I believe. So I'm so excited for that because the Legacy of Orisha, I think is what the series is called for that one, is so good. It's by Tomi Adeyemi, and she was the one who wrote Children of Blood and Bone and Virtue and Vengeance. And I love these books and they're so good and I would recommend them to anybody. I think my versions are so pretty because they're the sprayed edges, and so I had to get them. I do have the hardcovers of them as well. I just have people borrowing those right now because I'm like, please read these books. I originally gave the first one a 4.5 star, which I keep thinking that I want to push it up, but it's not quite a 5 star for me. But the second one was a 5 star. Absolutely. I loved it so much. So I definitely recommend reading these books. But I wanted to get a fantasy into another fantasy. So I'm going to be reading 5 Broken Blades. Very, very excited for that. The next book on my TBR is Heartstopper Volume 5. I have been wanting to read this since I got it. I just am so scared for the series to be over because I loved it so much. All of the first 4 books that I've read are a 5 star. And the last one is going to be the 6th one, which isn't out yet. So once I read this one, I can't even read the 6th one yet. So once the 6th one comes out, I'm not going to want to read that one because it's the last one. But I think I'm going to get into it in June because it is Pride Month. And I was like, what better month to read it in than June for Pride Month? So yeah, very, 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 very excited for this one. If you didn't know, it's about Nick and Charlie, and Nick is a rugby player and Charlie is one of the only openly gay kids at his school, and they become closer because they have a class together, and Charlie has a crush on Nick and they start getting closer as friends, and Nick starts to question his sexuality, and so it's an exploration of that, and it's just a really cute story, and I freaking love it, and I would obviously recommend this to anybody as well. And then the next book on my TBR was one that I had from California. And if you didn't see that video, I'll have it in the description or in the cards. And I guess the cards would be over here. Which is, this book is gay. I've had this book for so long. It's a nonfiction, and I've been wanting to read more nonfiction. The last nonfiction book that I read was Hidden Figures, which was okay. It wasn't for me, I don't think, because I wasn't super interested in like space and all of that. I just wanted to read about like the Black women in NASA, which if you're really interested in that, I would definitely recommend. I gave it a 3.5 star, but anyways, this is another nonfiction that I want to read because it is about like queer people's stories, I believe. What the back says, what it's about. It says, lesbian, bisexual, queer, transgender, straight, curious. This book is for everyone, regardless of gender or sexual preference. This book is for anyone who's ever dared to wonder. This book is for you. There's a long-running joke that after coming out a lesbian, gay guy, bisexual, or trans person, you should receive a membership card and an instruction manual. This is that instruction manual. You're welcome. Inside, you'll find the answers to all the questions you've ever wanted to ask, from sex to politics, hooking up to stereotypes, coming out, and more. This candid, funny, and uncensored exploration of sexuality and what it's like to grow up LGBT also includes real stories from people across the gender and sexual spectrums, not to mention hilarious illustrations. You will be entertained, you will be informed, but most importantly, you will know that however you identify or don't, and whomever you love, you are exceptional, you matter, and so does this book. So that is the nonfiction book that I'm gonna get into this month. Hopefully. This one is kind of more at the bottom of my list to get to because it is nonfiction. I'm scared to read it, but I love reading about and hearing about queer people, and so that's why I wanted to pick this one up. And the next one I am so excited about, which is Between Perfect and Real by Ray Stove. I don't know how to say the last name, but I got this book on Pango Books for like, I think $2 or something like that. So I was really excited. It came in really good condition. If you didn't know, Pango Books is basically like a secondhand app book store. It's not a store, but basically readers put up their books that they don't want to read anymore or want to give away, and they put them up for really cheap prices for the most part. And you could also get special editions on there, and you're not supporting like Amazon or big corporations like that, and you're just supporting other readers. But anyways, this one I saw, and it was literally just because it was in the queer recommended one when I typed in like LGBTQ books. So there was this one that I saw, and I've been wanting to read more transgender books because I don't have a lot of them. Most of them are like just like gay or sapphic, which I love those books too, but I haven't read any like trans books where the main character is trans. So that's what this one is. And I'll read you what it's about. I think I want to transition, but I have to come out first. I just don't know how. Dean Foster knows he's a trans guy. He's watched enough YouTube videos and done enough questioning to be sure. But everyone at his high school thinks he's a lesbian, including his girlfriend Zoe and his theater director, who just cast him as a non-traditional Romeo. He wonders if maybe it would be easier to wait until college to come out, but as he plays Romeo every day in rehearsals, Dean realizes he wants everyone to see him as he really is now, not just on the stage, but everywhere in his life. Not just on the stage, but everywhere in his life. Dean knows what he needs to do. Can playing a role help Dean be his true self? And I just think that is really cute, and I'm really excited to get into this book. The next book I chose because I wanted to read a sapphic book. I was like, I have to read a sapphic book. I'm a lesbian. Like, I need to read a sapphic book this month. But I've read almost all of the sapphic books that I have in my house, which means I need to get more or something, you know. I love sapphic books so much, and which is why I've read almost all of them. Most of them were my best friend Cass's books. My roommate, we share like a bookshelf, and they have been giving me a bunch of recommendations for books, and this was one of the only like books that I could find that was sapphic, which is fine. I still want to read it, but that is Girl Crushed by Katie Heaney. So this one is about Quinn Ryan has senior year all figured out. She's going to be captain of the varsity soccer team. She'll be recruited by UNC with a full ride. She'll graduate in glory alongside her girlfriend Jamie, and they'll go off to college stronger than ever. But then Quinn's team votes for her best friend Ronnie as captain, and UNC hasn't called. And worst of all, a month before senior year begins, Jamie dumps Quinn. None of this was part of the plan, but neither was a new crush. Ruby Ocampo, the lead singer of an extremely cool local band. Jamie and soccer are all Quinn ever cared about, until Ruby. But why does it feel the closer Quinn grows to Ruby, the more she misses Jamie? And that maybe, just maybe, Jamie misses her too. That was the first time that I ever read the synopsis, and I'm like, it is a sports romance, but queer. It is a sapphic sports romance, and I love that. So I'm so excited to read it already now. But yeah, there's that one. And then the next one I picked was because it was just another queer book that I had on my shelf. And it was a really popular book, and I don't know if it really is anymore as much, at least. I have seen people talk about it, like people getting into reading that want to read like queer books, and that is Simon versus the Homo Sapien Agenda. Which, if you haven't seen, I've only seen the movie, and I don't know how I feel about it, so I think I'm going to read this just to see like how I feel about it. But yeah, I don't know. I literally just put this on the TBR because I was like, it's a pretty like average sized book. It's only like 303 pages, which is not bad. I've been reading a lot of books that are like over 400 pages, which is fine. I like them anyways. But this one is only 300 pages. It's easy. Like, it seems like it's gonna be an easy read. And yeah. So this one is, if you didn't know, it's about Simon. He starts texting somebody or emailing somebody named Blue, and he accidentally leaves his email open on the school computer with the email opened, and somebody sees it, and now he's being blackmailed to get somebody, I forget his name, Martin, to get Martin a date with one of his friends, I believe. Either one of his friends or like just a girl, because he likes her. So if Simon can't get him a date because he's like the weird kid, then he says that he will like out him basically, and that's what this book is about. And I don't know how I feel about it, but we'll see if I get to it. We'll see. This one is also probably at more of the bottom of my priority list of reading. But yeah. And then the last book on my TBR is one that I've been reading. It's just a reread, which is The Wishing Spell in the Land of Stories series by Chris Colfer. Chris Colfer is an openly gay actor and writer, and I love these books so much. And I've been wanting to reread this book. I started reading it like a couple months ago, and I am 150 pages in. So I was like, oh, maybe it would be a perfect time to actually like finish rereading this book, because there is 5 more books in this series. It's a 6-book series. I believe that the 6th one is the last one, but I was like, maybe it'll be good if I get to this one and finish it so I could get to the second reread of the second book. So there's that one. This one is about Alex and Connor, and they are 2 siblings. They're twins, and they're given this book by their grandma, I believe, and when they open it, it is like a portal into a fairy tale world. And Alex has always been like super into fairy tales, and she loves them because her dad used to tell them to her when she was younger. And so she's like so excited to meet all these fairy tale characters in the land that they just transported to. And Connor, he is more or less not excited to be there, and he's just trying to get home. So this book is about their journey trying to get back home. And I freaking love these books. I read them like years ago, but they have stayed probably one of my favorite series. They're more nostalgic for me because they are middle grade and I'm older now, so it's more nostalgic for me to reread these. But I would recommend anybody trying maybe to get into fantasy. This is really good. If you like fairy tales, this one's really good. The writing is really easy. It's very simple because it is middle grade, but I still love them. And they're like books that I can read in between like a fantasy book and a science fiction book. Like something I can read in between something that's really hard to read. Like for like story building and stuff, this one is just really, really easy and I love it. So yeah. So that was my June TBR, and I am super, super excited to get into it. My first book that I'm gonna get into is 5 Broken Blades. I haven't even opened it, but I just finished another book, which you will see in the vlog that I post soon. I guess it will already be up once this video is up, but maybe not. Maybe this one will be up first. I guess we'll see. Once the vlog goes up, it will be in the description somewhere. But that's the first book that I'm gonna get into, and then I'll get into my queer books, and I'm super excited. Let me know down in the comments if you have any queer books that you would recommend, specifically sapphic and trans. I would love to read those. I like all queer books, so any kind of them would be great because I just want some recommendations. And let me know what you're reading right now, or any books that you finished recently that you've loved that you would recommend. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you in the next one.